Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. So the Democrat plan was hatched, and frankly executed quite well. The plan was to hit Trump with a bunch of indictments, cause a big media buzz and spectacle, distracting the public's eye away from Joe Biden's track record of failure. That was phase 1, then phase 2 was achieve a guilty verdict, again to shock and distract the public, then try to swoop in at the last second with some executive order nonsense, saving the issue for the last second right ahead of election, hoping that you'll get elected on a mandate of fixing the broken immigration system. That was the plan, and they executed flawlessly. Only a couple problems here, and the problems lie in the plan itself. The indictments were bullshit. And Joe Biden's now trying to get credit for trying to solve a problem that he created and refused to even lift a finger about for years. Whoops, I guess it's another one of those Democrat blunders. Even the Democrats' own allies in the media, in this case Bill Maher, aren't buying any of this crap. In fact, they seem to be laughing in Joe Biden's face. And this is 5 months away from election? Not exactly a positive state for the Democrat Party going into this election season. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. Let's talk about why Joe Biden's simply the biggest hypocrite. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, we all pretty much know exactly what's going on here. We've been talking about this. Joe Biden out of nowhere the day after the verdict, after years of doing nothing on the border and telling everybody that he's powerless and can't do anything on the border, he announces a new executive order, essentially a complete mimic of a Trump policy that he revoked week 1 after taking over. You know, the same policies his critics keep telling him he should just re-implement to help curb the southern border crisis. Well, now, right ahead of election season, after years of saying that he can't do anything, he comes out with this pathetic little play, and even his own allies in the media, even his own Democrat friends, aren't buying it. Take a look at this.
There was an actual big story in the news this week about immigration, and I want to get to that, because I think if Biden loses this election, it's going to be because of two things. He's old, and he can't get past that issue, and people just hate that about him, and immigration. I mean, just on a political level, I don't think they could have handled it worse. Because now what's going on, if you didn't see the news this week, okay, here's what Biden's doing. He's finally, after saying he couldn't do anything, he's going to issue an executive order. By the way, this is the same executive order Trump tried to get through the courts, and they didn't let him do it. But he's going to finally try it 6 months before the election, which says we will put a cap of 2,500 now asylum seekers coming in. If it passes 2,500, if it's 2,501, then we automatically close the border. Fire marshal says, no more. He's going to come here and close the club. And if you don't have a stamp on your hand, you can't get back in. Okay. But when it goes down to 1,500, then we resume standard asylum procedures. It's like surge pricing with Uber. It's a bizarre scheme that, of course, has pleased nobody. It looks like a last minute, it looks like he did nothing. And of course, he did try through Congress, and the Republicans purposely spiked that football. They didn't want this bill because they wanted it as an issue. So they could have fixed it themselves. They didn't. But now it looks like this is his last minute before the election Hail Mary pass, and it's not going to succeed.
That's right, yeah.
It's not even a Hail Mary pass, though. Yeah. Hail Mary pass, the guy might catch it, right? Doug Flutie did it that one time. He did this knowing that it's going to be declared invalid by the courts.
And it's an admission that he could have done it the whole time, and he didn't. So now you broke it, you bought it, it's on him.
This is the biggest refugee crisis in the Western Hemisphere ever. More than 8 million Venezuelans, for example. That's a ton of people, and we're having 1,500 at border checkpoints that have no ability to process them. It's not going to work.
So since January 2021, when Biden took office, more than 9 million migrants have entered. That's more than number of people who live in Nicaragua. Wow. He let in all of Nicaragua, equivalent.
Yeah,
and the question that Democrats don't seem to be able to have the balls to answer is just how many is too many? Right. And infinity is the answer. If you don't give that answer, you're a racist. That's their essential problem with this issue.
They're laughing at the guy, calling it Joe Biden's election Hail Mary. But most important is the conclusion that it won't succeed. It's not convincing anyone. It's not even convincing the people who are paid all of this money to essentially represent Democrats on TV. Even they know that American voters aren't that stupid. But most importantly, it helps us argue a point that I've been going on about for months. It pretty much confirms that they've got nothing. Joe Biden and his Democrat cronies, the current regime, well, they don't have a leg to stand on. It's like I've said before, they passed all this legislation and according to them, it was historic, groundbreaking, the greatest bipartisan achievement from any president ever. Well, apparently that was a whole load of crap, because if that was the case, they'd probably be running on those achievements. When's the last time you heard Joe Biden mention the infrastructure plan? Yeah, kind of hard to claim massive success over your infrastructure plan after it's been 3 years since you passed the bill and it doesn't seem like a shovel's hit the dirt. I wonder what happened to the over $1 trillion spent on that bill. Obviously, it was mostly pork, inflationary spending just like the Inflation Reduction Act, just money printer go burr, stacking more government bureaucracy, not exactly something you can run on. They have nothing other than Donald Trump likes to beat up puppies, and he's a convicted felon. They've got nothing but that, or oddly enough, kind of shape-shifting into Donald Trump. Joe Biden, every now and then in his most desperate moments, he either does two things. He either blames Donald Trump, or then reacts to his failures by trying to adopt a Trump policy. He basically puts spray tan on and a silky blonde wig on top of his head. He shapeshifts into Donald Trump and then tries to get credit for it. That's exactly what he's doing here. And I think at one point last week, we were seeing reports of Joe Biden reenacting some form of the Remain in Mexico policy. He's simply re-implementing the policies that he revoked on day one and trying to get credit for it, after 4 years of subjecting the country to a all-out crisis. The dishonesty and the hypocrisy of it all is just too much to handle. Joe Biden has built a brand of deception. He tells you he can't do anything about the border when he clearly can. He tells you he had nothing to do with inflation when he clearly did. He somehow still tries to blame it on Trump. He peddles lies about Trump supporters murdering Capitol Police officers on January 6th. He lies about supposed book banning, especially when he's in front of black people. He pretends as if Republicans are trying to ban books about slavery and black history. He lies. He lies about this ridiculous conspiracy about denying people water while waiting in the scorching heat in Georgia while casting your ballot. He lied about his academic track record, his work history, his activist history, his connection to KKK members and other vile figures. He lied about his son Hunter Biden, claimed the laptop didn't exist, it was a mystery, some sort of information operation from the Russians. He lied about his son Hunter making millions abroad, claiming his son never made a cent from China or any other country. He's the biggest deceptor to ever be elected president. It's almost as if Adam Schiff is president or Dan Goldman. He's such a big phony, such a big liar, and such an obvious hypocrite, again, that even his own allies are done with it and are willing to call it out. I mean, how pathetic that they thought this was gonna work. In the video we recorded about the topic a couple days ago, of course, we're gonna see people like Brian Krasenstein come out to the president's defense. Oh, wow, amazing. Joe Biden's a real border hawk and Trump was a failure on the issue, blah, blah, frickin' blah. Some people are dishonest. To defend Joe Biden's complete inaction over the last 4 years, they're willing to go along with the grift, but not everybody has sold their soul completely to the DNC devil, and obviously this one was too hypocritical, too dishonest for a lot of leftists to get behind. Joe Biden is the most dishonest scoundrel to ever step foot in the Oval Office. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.